It's so heartbreaking to see that they lost their livelihoods, they lost their houses, and magpapasko. In the season of giving, parang itinaon na rin namin doon na mag-all out.
Mga PDL po mismo, sila po ay nag-initiate na kanila pong ibigay po yung kanilang nakikikom na pera para po sa ating mga nasalanta po ng bagyo.
I just want to do my part to give back to the people who've done so much for me and my family.
Tuloy-tuloy pa rin po ang ating repacking kasi nga nakapag-load tayo kanina sa vessel patungo ng Cebu, Bohol, and Siargao.
Good evening, I'm Robbie Alampay. You're watching The Big Story. You, of course, witnessed how we as a people can foster the Bayanihan spirit to help our kababayan still reeling from the onslaught of Typhoon Odette.
And as Christmas nears, now is the best time more than ever to help out in whichever way that we can. Signal Stellathon for our kababayans in Odette hit areas is still ongoing. Let's make them feel the spirit of Filipino Bayanihan. You can give to them through the bank account details flashed on your screen.
Through the PayMaya app, if you have not yet download the app, then use it to scan the QR code on your screen. You may also take a picture of the QR code first.
You can also send stars and stickers on News 5's Facebook and YouTube pages. And for Smart and TNT subscribers, you can give donations by texting donate space amount and send it to 3456.
This time of year, Siargao should be teeming with tourists. But after Typhoon Odette hammered Mindanao and Visayas, many destinations in the island have been pummeled to the ground.
Resort owners who help bolster the island's economy are now finding ways to give back to the community, which once housed their flourishing businesses. Marian Enriquez with the story.
Tourists usually flock to Siargao on holidays, but not this year. The famous Cloud9 surfing spot was not spared during Typhoon Odette's onslaught. Its boardwalk and view deck are now in ruins. Greenhouse resort owner James considers himself lucky. The damage on his cottages are repairable. His resort is now a receiving point for donations.
I just want to do my part to give back to the people who've done so much for me and my family.
Locals say Typhoon Odette was worse than Typhoon Nitang, which devastated the island back in 1984. A Siargaoan and professional surfer Filmar Alipayo was in Manila during the typhoon and immediately flew back to Siargao a day after.
Ang hirap iwan yung anak ko pero di ko kayang umalis dito nang iwan lang tong lugar na ganito.
Filmar and his resort owner friends chip in to help the residents.
Kailangan namin ng tulong, tubig, pagkain, shelter. Walang kahit matutulugan may sa kilid na lang daanan yung mga tao natutulog.
Surigao 1st District Representative Bingo Matugas also belied accusations that they are blocking the distribution of relief goods.
Walang po naghaharang ng relief goods. Kahit sinong private group na magtumulong, wala kaming it's a matter of recording lang, saka organize. Organization yung malagay yung system, saka organization para hindi magulo, lahat makatanggap.
President Rodrigo Duterte, for his part, visited the island on Wednesday. He vowed that the supply of food and water will be continuous and that the Social Welfare Department will provide aid.
10 kilo lang nakuha namin bugas, yan nanay. Tapos nabigyan kami sa barangay ng 5 kilo. O yun lang ang tipid-tipid.
The Energy Department said that they will try to restore power in some areas by year-end. Overall, the residents are still grappling from Odette's impact. With damaged houses, residents can only hope to have a shelter above their heads this rainy season. For News 5, Marian Enriquez, we are One News.
How difficult is it to send help to battered areas, especially when ports and gateways are themselves heavily damaged? that big question and more with Alagang Kapatid Foundation's Executive Director, Menchi Silvestre. Menchi, welcome to The Big Story.
Good evening, Robbie. Good evening, Gretchen.
Menchi, marami ka ng dinaanan, marami ka ng nagawang tulong with Alagang Kapatid Foundation sa lahat. Bawat salanta, nandyan kayo, tumutulong sa iba pang mga pundasyon. How different is it this time? How much harder is it?
Okay, tama yun, Robbie. Alagang Kapatid Foundation has been responding to a number of major calamities in the past. But this time, the major difficulty is moving our goods from Metro Manila to Mindanao. Napakarami pang ports ang hindi operational, so it's difficult to be bringing our truckloads of relief goods from Metro Manila down to Matnog, Sorsogon, cross to Allen Samar, move towards southern Leyte where there are 3 ports sana available, but these ports are also damaged. So ang challenge ngayon is to cross from southern Leyte to Surigao, or at least another point of either Cagayan de Oro or Butuan City. However, this morning we were fortunate, Robbie, that a truckload of our donations of our relief goods was accommodated in a mercy mission of Fast Cat. So it should leave anytime now, anytime soon. Pinupuno na lamang further itong vessel na ito, at this is bound for Siargao. So meron pong it will pass through Cebu, then Bohol. Final destination ito is Siargao. So konting tiis na lamang, kapit na lamang po mga kapatid, pero at least ang paunang tulong natin ay makakarating na po sa Siargao. Food items, water, and other basic necessities nakakarga na po dyan sa Fast Cat.
Samantala, Menchi, gaya ng sabi mo, hinahanapan naman ng paraan yan, kahit gaano kahirap, kapit muna. Pero sa kabilang banda naman, maraming mga tao nagtatanong, paano kami makakatulong at saka ano ba talagang mahalagang maitulong ng mga tao?
Okay. Robbie, dahil nga inunahan na natin na napakahirap i-move ng ating mga relief goods kung nandito siya manggagaling sa Metro Manila. Kaya po kami ay naglalambing. Sabi nga namin, we would really prefer cash so we can purchase locally. And what do we mean by purchase locally? It doesn't exactly mean na doon sa area devastated ay doon tayo mamimili. Siyempre, doon tayo mamimili sa mga katabi, mga kapitbahay na munisipalidad na merong supply ng we would like to, we prefer hard vegetables over instant noodles. Sa limbawa, katulad ngayon, meron tayong 2 toneladang kalabasa na ibinababa mula Metro Manila papunta dito sa Sogod, Leyte. And so we want to buy the produce of farmers locally, small businesses locally, para malamang itong mga bibilhan natin ng goods in the neighboring municipalities. Malamang may mga kamag-anak din sila na either kinukup-kup ngayon o kaya ay sila mismo ay makakatulong sa kanilang mga kamag-anak. So that's why we want to spur local economy. So talagang cash. Now, kung talaga pong you prefer to buy the goods here and you want to turn it over to us, please bring it over na lamang po sa TV5 Reliance dito po sa Mandaluyong, o di naman po kaya sa TV5 Novaliches. You may drop it off there. For now, kami po sana ay magpapaliwanag din na between food items, water-based, and other basic necessities, brand new blankets, brand new towels, mas madali po yung maipakiusap na ma-load sa mga barko, sa mga C-130, as against used clothing, mga kapatid. So for now, isasantabi po muna natin yon, and we will give priority doon sa mga bagong kumot, bagong mga tuwalya, so that it reaches. Robbie, ang isa rin sana, water containers as against single use bottles of water. Mas importante na we don't flood the islands with garbage. Wag naman po. So sana kung malalaking reusable water containers ang ating i-prioritize po na ito ni.
Okay, maraming salamat, Menchi, at mag-iingat din kayo. That was Menchi Silvestre of the Alagang Kapatid Foundation. The official death toll from Typhoon Odette continues to rise based on the latest reports of the NDRRMC. 258 fatalities have been tallied so far, 11 of which were already confirmed. Those injured from the onslaught have risen to 568. 47 people are still missing. Close to 2.2 million have been affected. Damage to infrastructure is already at 2.5 billion pesos. Around 136,000 houses and 93 infrastructures were ruined by the typhoon. The agricultural sector also lost some 1.15 billion pesos worth of property. About 15,800 hectares of crop area across 8 regions were reportedly affected.
These are the other big stories tonight. COVID treatment pill Molnupiravir has been given the green light for use here in the Philippines. Pfizer's COVID jabs have also been given authorization for use among minors aged 5 to 11. And stories of Bayanihan continue as we get a glimpse of how even those inside jails tried to chip in to help those battered by the recent typhoon. These big stories after the break.
Good evening. You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Ho. Floods may have already subsided in most of the Odette-hit areas like Negros Oriental, but residents are now facing the tough task of cleaning the mud.
The problem, however, is that most of these areas are still running low on water. Ryan Ang with the story.
Bais residents have begun volunteering to clear mud off the streets to allow vehicles to pass through. Muds also filled houses after the floods subsided. The Salig family decided to create a big hole on their wall to flush away the mud outside their home.
Yung mga putik, hindi basta-basta maalis namin dito kasi ang tubig wala. Binutas namin kasi para easy lang yung pag-ano naman sa mga putik.
With water supply still limited due to broken pipes, Residents resorted to fetching water from deep wells. As a temporary solution to power shortage, the City Hall and several establishments decided to lend their outlets to residents so that they may charge their mobile phones and other gadgets. Meanwhile, over 200 families are currently staying in the evacuation center. But with just 2 days left before Christmas, evacuees are more concerned with how they are going to rebuild their houses.
Ang Pasko dumadating naman kada taon. At kirahan talaga may problema namin kung saan kami pupunta. Kasi hindi naman namin alam kung hanggang kailan kami dito magstay.
Search and retrieval operations, meanwhile, are still ongoing, according to the Civil Security Office. 18 people were confirmed dead in the city, while 17 are still missing.
Yung search and retrieval tuloy-tuloy pa rin because we have, every now and then, we are receiving information na may mga sightings or may mga naaamoy sila na mga katawan na medyo nagsisimula ng mag-decay.
For News 5, Ryan Ang, We Are One News.
Time for our next quick look at some of the day's big stories. A first here in the Philippines, the Food and Drug Administration has granted emergency use authorization for an anti-COVID pill. Molnar's Molnupiravir may now be used on adult COVID patients with mild to moderate cases. The pill should be taken within 5 days of symptom manifestation. The FDA also approved Pfizer's COVID-19 jab for minors ages 5 to 11 years old. Now, this comes a week after the manufacturer filed for EUA. The FDA says the shot is 90% effective in the said age group. The agency says, however, that government has to purchase new jabs for the 5 to 11-year-old age bracket.
Bayanihan pa rin tayo. Youth groups across the country show that young as they are, they can do a lot of good to help our kababayans devastated by Typhoon Odette. JC Cosico shows us their efforts.
Despite their busy work schedule, Jello and his high school friends opened a donation drive for victims of Typhoon Odette. Since they all love traveling, they can't help but be sad after the destruction caused by Typhoon Odette in Siargao and other tourist destinations.
Kasi 'di ba, pag nagta-travel ka, it's the locals who welcome you sa sa provinces nila, and parang ito yung naisip namin na ito yung give back na gusto namin gawin sa mga nasalanta ng bagyo.
It's so heartbreaking to see that they lost their livelihoods, they lost their houses, and magpapasko. So, in the season of giving, parang itinaon na rin namin doon na mag-all out.
The group has raised almost 50,000 pesos and they are still accepting cash and in-kind donations to reach more areas. Meanwhile, youth volunteers from Malita, Davao Occidental thought of selling macaroons as their way of helping.
Dahil po dito sa typhoon nainganyo po ako na tumulong, hindi lang through prayers.
Each container of macaroons costs 85 pesos, which will go straight to their donation drive for typhoon victims.
Our small action can actually make a big difference, lalo na if it's a collective effort.
These church leaders from Taguig City, meanwhile, are using their talent to help through online caroling sessions.
Nakita namin ngayong Christmas, maganda magamit din para maka-reach out sa mga kababayan po natin na nasalanta po ng Typhoon Odette.
Yun yung fastest way para sa amin to send our tulong din sa kanila. Especially ngayon magki-Christmas.
They have collected 11,000 pesos so far. The Alagang Kapatid Foundation for its part sent hundreds of food packs and bottled water to Siargao. The Metro Pacific Investments Foundation will also send relief items as well as water filters and solar lamps to the town of Del Carmen. For News 5, JC Cosico, We Are One News.
And we have been witnessing how we as a people can foster the Bayanihan spirit to help our kababayan still reeling from the onslaught of Typhoon Odette.
And as Christmas nears, now is the best time more than ever to help out in whichever way we can. Signal Stellathon for our kababayans in Odette hit areas is still ongoing. Let's make them feel the spirit of Filipino Bayanihan, and you can give to them through the bank account details flashed on your screen.
You can also donate through the PayMaya app. If you have not yet done so, download the app, then use it to scan the QR code on your screens. You may also take a picture of the QR code first and then download the app later.
You can also send stars and stickers on News 5's Facebook and YouTube pages. And for Smart and TNT subscribers, you can give donations by texting donate space amount and send it to 3456. Time for another quick break. When we return,
Good evening. You're still watching The Big Story. I'm Robbie Alampay.
and I'm Gretchen Hall. Even as a price freeze is now in effect across areas under a state of calamity, some are still taking advantage of limited resources.
Profiteers have been jacking up prices of basic goods from water to fuel. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez gives us a front seat to the story.
A week after Typhoon Odette devastated several regions in Visayas and Mindanao, food, water, and fuel supply remain scarce. And now there are reports people are taking advantage by selling water and fuel for double or even triple regular price. Siargao tourist guide Mark Anthony Lim says gasoline is being sold from 100 to 150 pesos per bottle at this point.
Napabili ako ng gas na 120 sa bote. Pero wala ka na magagawa kasi wala ka ng gas.
Siargao is one of the areas that bore the brunt of Odette, with officials estimating up to 90% of the population were impacted. Lim says relief goods have come in, but it's still not enough.
Kung halimbawa, bibili ka ng bigas, di ka bibigyan. Kahit tubig man lang o pagkain na relief goods, okay na.
On Facebook, dozens of people are complaining about overpriced basic necessities. Like this photo of 500 milliliter water bottles being sold for 60 pesos. Normally, it's just 10 to 15 pesos a piece. In other typhoon-stricken areas like Cebu, a gallon of mineral water is being sold for as much as 130 pesos. This is despite the price freeze imposed on basic necessities after President Duterte placed regions 4B, 6, 7, 8, 10, and 13 under a state of calamity. The Department of Trade and Industry has already instructed its consumer protection groups and regional offices to go after profiteers.
We are advising them, submittingin yung government sa inyo. So let's not take advantage of the situation kasi mahirap na nga, papahirapin pa.
The Energy Department has also issued a warning.
We are calling the attention of retail outlets that are overpricing, that they are violating Section 52 of the Consumer Act. Merong administrative and criminal penalties po yan.
DTI is urging the public to report incidents of overpricing through its main Facebook page, DTI Philippines, or consumer care at dti.gov.ph. Mobile journalist Pamela Vasquez, We Are One News.
We're still in the mode of celebrating all the giving going on. This time, we'll tell you the tale of some of our kapatids who, despite being deprived of their own liberty, are still managing to help in their own ways.
Inmates at the Bureau of Jail Management and Technology in San Juan came up with a fundraising activity for those affected by Typhoon Odette. The PDLs decided to create and sell paroles. Now, part of their income will be sent to the victims of Typhoon Odette in Visayas and Mindanao. Some even helped out in repacking relief goods.
More than 200 prisoners from the 4 dorms of the facility have contributed to the project. The detainees said they know the feeling of suffering, as many of them have also experienced the onslaught of typhoons when they were still outside. Their request for people to get the courage to stand back up and continue and survive.
Ang nakaisip po yan ng initiative na yan ay ating mga PDL po mismo. Sila po ay nag-initiate na kung po pwede po ay kanila pong ibigay po yung kanilang nagikom na pera. Kahit po sa nandito sila sa loob ay na-reach out po nila yung community na gusto nilang tulungan.
We're all witness to how we as a people can foster the bayanihan spirit to help our kababayan still reeling from the onslaught of Typhoon Odette.
And as Christmas nears, now is the best time more than ever to help out in whatever form that we can. Signal's telethon po for our kababayans in Odette-hit areas is still ongoing. Let's make them feel the spirit of Filipino bayanihan, and you can give to them through the bank account details flashed on your screen.
And again, you can also donate through the PayMaya app. Kung hindi nyo pa po nagagawa, download the app. You can use it to scan the QR code on your screens, or unahin nyo na. Kunan nyo na ng litrato yung QR code. Then you can download the app later and donate later.
You can also send stars and stickers on News 5's Facebook and YouTube pages.
And for Smart and TNT subscribers, you can give donations by texting donate space amount and send it to 3456.
Paano ba yan, partner? Bukas na pala ang Christmas Eve, no? Napakabilis.
Oo, at saka napakalinaw naman. Simple lang naman yung mensahe. And to be fair, this is not a message coming from all of us. Nakikita mo naman sa mga grupo natin, sa mga chat groups, everybody wants to help. It's a beautiful time to celebrate Christmas with this particular spirit. Yung bayanihan, Pilipinong-Pilipino talaga. Magtulungan tayo.
At gaya ng mga kaibigan natin, no, sa yung ating mga kaibigang preso, nakapag-donate din sila in their own little way. Kumuha sila ng parol, nag-repack sila ng goods. Tayo din sa ating mumunting paraan ay makakatulong din po tayo. So, we will be having that telethon this whole day. TV5, Signal TV, 1 News, and 1PH. And that wraps up today's big story. Catch us again tomorrow at 8 p.m. on Signal Channels 8 and 250.
Please like our Facebook page, 1 News. For more in-depth analysis, visit our webpage, onenews.ph. Mask on.
Wash hands.
And stay safe, Philippines. I'm Robbie Alampay.
And I'm Gretchen Hall. We are 1 News. Have a good evening.
Tuloy pa rin na Pasko ng Pinoy kahit ano pa mang pasakit sa atin bumalaki. Pag-ibig sa ating puso ay mamamalagi na para bang ngiti dito sa ating labi.
Basta ating mga puso ay magkakaritmo, magkasaya't magkarama, yan lang ang hiling ko. Asahan mong tuloy pa rin ang Pasko